Hey everyone, my name is Michael Jacobson. I'm a technology project lead with Bismarck Public Schools, and today I'm here to talk to you about the care and feeding of your Chromebook. Kind of unusual terminology to use, but believe me, it is a thing, and we're going to talk about it today. One of the ways you can do this, of course, is simply to know that this is going to be your device that you're going to use for the rest of this year, and in some cases, in middle school and high school especially, this might be the device that you use during your entire time in those schools. So it's really important that you take good care of it. How do you do that? Well, simply is being responsible with it. So we'll work on what that looks like as you are in different grade levels. In elementary, you're going to hear about what it means to be responsible with your library media specialist, and that will continue up through your middle school and high school years as well. Damage to your Chromebook can result in a fine, especially if we see that it was a damage that was caused maybe on purpose or because it was something that we noticed was happening maybe out of carelessness. We'll talk a little bit more about if that fine is going to happen that way. Not generally problems with like wear and tear, but broken screens would be a good example of maybe carelessness or intentional breaking of the item. That might be a fine you have to pay. Okay. Um, to avoid repairing those costs, we're going to learn some proper care for your computer, and that way it's not something really to worry about. So one way to avoid damage is from dropping this in your backpack. So you don't want to throw your backpack down in places. If you have your Chromebook in your backpack, try not to throw your backpack at home when you get home for the day, or throw it into the car, or drop it off your bike if you're riding a bike, or those kinds of things. Just try not to let your Chromebook fall from higher places. The same can be true as oftentimes we'll move from place to place with our Chromebooks, and people put their Chromebook on the edge of a desk and it's not quite steady and it can tip off. So really try to avoid the edges of desks and tabletops and keep it on a hard, flat surface possible. Do not eat or drink around your Chromebook. Now, this is something that some people have a behavior in doing, and they think, oh, that's not going to cause a problem. And maybe that's true most of the time. But some of the time accidents happen and water falls into the Chromebook, and now you've got a broken Chromebook. And that's one of those where we have to, you caused that damage. So really try to avoid eating and drinking around your Chromebooks when at all possible. The other thing that happens is over time, food from your Chrome or food will drop down onto your Chromebook and it doesn't seem like anything happened to it. But lo and behold, over time, those crumbs get down into the keys and get the keys sticky or cause a problem in the circuit boards within the Chromebook. And now we've got a Chromebook that doesn't work. So really avoid trying to eat or drink around that Chromebook if you can. Screen care. Well, this is a good one. You want to avoid carrying your Chromebook by the screen. That was one of the number one things I saw in the elementary, that students would in a hurry would grab their Chromebook and run to the next place that they need to go. Grab it by the base where the keyboard is. Okay, use two hands when you're carrying it. Avoid touching the screen too hard. So screens, when you're pointing to something at your screen, you don't actually have to touch the screen. Just use that finger and motion if you have to show something you're near to show it that screen. Just try not to grab or push on the screen. Sometimes there's pressure points on your screen. It's the bright spots, I call them, on the screen. They look like they're there. It's really not a broken screen, but it is a spot where it might have been pushed on too hard, just to show you an indication of what that is. So really try to avoid that if you can. The other thing you need to be aware of is temperature. So usually, but not always, if you're outside in extreme temperatures, it can cause your Chromebook to lose battery power. But it also can cause, let's say it's outside and it's the dead of winter and it's very, very, very cold outside. Well, just like you and me, we like to stay warm or the right temperature, not too hot, not too cold, but just right. Okay. Same with your Chromebooks. They like a nice room temperature atmosphere. They don't like getting smothered up. So don't pile your blankets over the top of them in beds or put them on sofas. Really have them on something solid so it can stay cool. When you're charging it, that's a great idea too. Don't let them stay outside in a car when it's a freezing cold night, and same is true when it's a really hot day. It doesn't like the severe temperature changes. So be conscientious of your temperatures. Now, this is the part where you're feeding that battery care, right? Chromebooks like energy. That's what they eat. So you use your charger for that. And this is the best way to keep your battery in good shape and last longer. So what you want to do is charge up your battery at night so that you have a charge for the day, and that charge slowly goes down over the day. Now, when I say that, that doesn't give you the excuse to leave your charger at home, because sometimes you're going to use up quite a bit of your charge during the day and you still need your charger. We'll talk about why you need that charger a little bit later. it's fully charged, don't have it plugged in anymore. It doesn't need that extra juice, okay? Oftentimes people will leave their Chromebooks, and that's if you don't need to have it plugged in. That's when you need to have that portability with your Chromebook. You don't need to leave it charged. Um, it can also wear down the battery life over its time. So just something to be aware of. And the other thing is true is you don't want your battery to wear all the way out. You don't want it to crash on you. So just have that charger with you just in case you need to plug it back in for charging. So some security tips for your Chromebook. Be mindful of where you're locating your Chromebook at all times. You don't want to get up and leave it and let it lay behind and then come back to it and find out that somebody took it. That's a horrible feeling. That does sometimes happen. So really be mindful of where you have it and where it's at all times in your secure locations. Never leave a Chromebook unattended. I already talked about that a moment ago. Sometimes too, it lets people get into your Chromebook. So really make sure that you secure your device, have it with you at all times, or know that you have it in a secure place when you don't have it with you. Always take the time to secure your Chromebook in a backpack or other areas that keeps it safe. Don't put your backpack down in the middle of the practice gym and then let balls fly and hit that backpack where your Chromebook is, and now you have a broken screen. So just because it's in your backpack doesn't mean it's safe. Make sure you've got your backpack in that safe place too. Okay. And do not leave your Chromebook locked in a vehicle that's in plain sight because, well, that can be tempting for people that may want to try to take it too. So do your best to keep it concealed so that people don't see something valuable in that way. So we've talked a little bit about security and how to take care of it, battery care. This is another way to take care of it, and that's keeping it clean. And how do you do that? Well, 5 easy steps. First, get a 50-50 solution of water and rubbing alcohol. Second, make sure you unplug your Chromebook. Third, take that 50-50 solution and put it onto a cloth, like a microfiber cloth, so a really soft cloth, okay? And don't put it onto the actual device directly, but put it onto the cloth. Fourth, take that cloth that now has the solution on it and in circular pattern, wipe down the screen. Maybe take another swipe at your keyboard. And as you see in step 5, repeat the steps for cleaning all the other areas, right? You want to keep a nice clean environment there. And that'll help keep your Chromebook clean. So you will be asked to do a responsible use policy, a digital etiquette piece for your students. Elementary students, I know you're going to be contacted at some point in the year, if you haven't already, with your library media specialist. They're going to tell you what you need to do with this. It may look kind of like the one you see on the screen with the picture of what looks like a green looking human face and some um, computer messaging to it. So it's kind of a fun little background, but you may not recognize it either. Don't worry about this so much in elementary, as somebody will be in touch with you soon about how to do this if they haven't already. Parents, you will see also a responsible use policy in the beginning of your registration update. Used to be the old goldenrod sheets, but now they have it online. So all of the schools have asked you to fill out that information. The responsible use policy on your end will be there. And students are going to receive a digital citizenship lesson as well about responsible use policy. So be on the lookout, that's coming. Chromebook loaners are a thing. If your Chromebook does happen to need a repair, we don't want to leave you without. We want to make sure you have what you need to do your schoolwork. And so we will provide a loaner for you to use in the event that your Chromebook needs repairing. If your loaner is a different model with a different type of charger, we'll provide the charger for your loaner. This is the part where I told you earlier to listen though, because if you only need a charger, your Chromebook works, but it ran out of battery and you only need a charger. Most of our schools do not check them out. In fact, I think I almost could safely say none of our schools check out extra chargers in the middle and high school levels. So you still need to bring your charger with you to school to be prepared to charge that Chromebook up. Elementary, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure they'll talk to you about that as well. So make sure that you keep those Chromebooks charged, and make sure if you have your charger to bring it in your backpack in case you need to charge it during the school day, because you will not get an extra charger if you need one. You will only get a loaner Chromebook if you need one, and a charger will be provided for that loaner. In the meanwhile, know that we do have a tech team that will work with you to supply some care that you might not be able to give your Chromebook on its own. So what am I talking about? If you got a little damage on your Chromebook, this is the team that's going to help you fix it. These are student interns. This is our technicians within our Bismarck Public School systems. It might even be somebody like me. So We will help you repair those Chromebooks and we'll decide, hey, is this a wear and tear kind of issue? Just needs a little support, no big deal. But if we do notice this is the part too where we'll say, gosh, this is a cracked screen. It's hard to do if unless you're being a little bit careless or temperature changes. So this is the one where maybe you get a fine. So this is the crew that kind of determines what kind of work needs to happen and whether or not a fine should be applied. So just be aware of that. If you need support for that kind of a repair, there are couple of places you can look for that tech support. So in our new blended learning environment on the bismarckschools.org webpage, you can click under the technology support options tab and you'll see the information by your school's feeder. Another place, students, where you can get some general support along with your technician's support numbers will be in the Blended Student Hub. And in that hub, you'll actually have the opportunity to learn more about all the great tools that we have with some how-tos and how to use those tools, along with your tech support, like who do I call if I need more than just a little bit of help on my Chromebook that I can't figure out with my teacher. So those are some places to go to. And that's where I'm going to leave this conversation. Thank you for listening. Again, if you have some questions, feel free to reach us on that tech support line or that email. If you think it's more of an issue that you can get solved with your teacher, I would say ask those questions to your teachers as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to how to take care and feed your Chromebook. I hope this is a helpful tutorial. And if you do have questions, once again, reach out to one of your teachers or to that tech support email or phone number.